Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. In this very special occasion, I'd like to introduce the speaker to you. Her name is Miss Sevia Magnaningrum. Miss Magna would like to present her report about disadvantages of having daring learning system. Miss Magna, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you, the moderator, for introducing me. So today, in this occasion, I'd like to talk about the disadvantage of having sharing learning system. And the purpose of this talk is to update you about the sharing learning system that have been used since March 2019 in our country because of COVID-19 pandemic. I will glad to answer any question at the end of my talk, and I plan to be brief. I have divided my presentation into two sections. There are the main context and the conclusion. So let's get started. Looking at the industry as a whole also reveals a plenty of enthusiasm with the statistic of e-learning industry in 2020 showing massive growth. However, educators worldwide still recognize some major issues plaguing in the industry, and these are the disadvantages of e-learning or sharing learning system. Next slide, please. The number one is online student feedback is limited. E-learning still tend to struggle with student feedback. Providing student feedback in an online setting is still a relatively unresearched topic area, and it might take a while for any specific strategies to become fully researched, tested, and proven to be effective. Two, e-learning can cause social isolation. The e-learning methods currently practiced in education tend to make participating students undergo contemplation, remoteness, and a lack of interaction. As a result, many of students and teachers who inevitably spend much of their time online can start experiencing signs of social isolation due to the lack of human communication in their lives. Next, please. The third, e-learning requires strong self-motivation and time management skills. Lack of self-motivation among students continues to be one of the primary reasons why students fail to complete online courses. Students taking e-learning courses will find that they are often required to learn difficult materials in a comfortable home setting without any of the added pressure normally associated with traditional college. As a result, keeping up with regular deadlines during online studies can become difficult for those students who lack strong self-motivation and time management skill. The number four is lack of communicational skill development in online students. Developing the communicational skills of the student is an area often neglected during online lessons. Due to the lack of face-to-face communication between peers, students, and teachers in online setting, the student might find that they are unable to work effectively in team settings. Next, please. Number five is cheating prevention during online assessment is complicated. Unfortunately, one of the biggest disadvantages of e-learning continues to be cheating through various methods. Compared to on-campus students, online students can cheat on assessment more easily as they take assessment in their own environment and while using their personal computer. Number six, online instructors tend to focus on theory rather than practice. A large portion of e-learning training providers choose to focus largely, in many cases entirely, on developing theoretical knowledge rather than practical skills. The reason for this evident, theoretical lectures are considerably easier to implement in an online learning environment than practical lectures. 7. E-learning lacks face-to-face communication. A lack of pressure is a disadvantage in the sense that it causes students to abandon their studies more easily. Constant nudging by professors might be undesirable for many, but it's an effective method for improving student retention. 8. E-learning is limited to certain disciplines. E-learning tends to be more suitable for social science and humanities rather than sensitive fields such as medical science and engineering, which require a certain degree of hands-on practical experience. While this could change in the future, we are currently not yet at a point where we can fully teach all professions solely through e-learning. Next, please. And number 9, online learning is inaccessible to computer illiterate population. Despite the booming growth in technological capabilities, the rates of computer literacy are still far from perfect. Therefore, it's highly important that we look at the online learning as an addition rather than as a replacement to traditional educational. 10. Lack of accreditation and quality assurance in online education. At the current point in time, there are still a vast number of online learning platforms which are unaccredited and where all the material are quality checked by no one beside the instructor themselves. As such, poor quality assurance and lack of accredited online learning providers continue to weaken the legitimacy of online education. So, in conclusion, e-learning can extremely beneficial if teachers and students are able to create a comfortable learning environment as well as have a good and clear learning plan so that students do not easily become bored and continue to be motivated to learn. And this is the end of the speech. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you, Miss Magna. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the report from Miss Magna about disadvantages of having daring learning system. Now let's continue to the session, question and answers. Before you ask a question or give a comment, please raise your hand, mention your name and your institution. For the first session, I'd like to give it to 3 people. Yes, please.
Thank you. My name is Yunita. I'm from Brawijaya University. I have a question. At the point of the lack of communication skill development in online students, what do you think is how to improve students' communication skill during online learning?
All right, so I will answer the question. Okay, I'm sorry. So I will repeat the question from the questionnaire. So the question is, what do you think is how to improve students' communication skill during online? So this is the answer. The student could be more active during the online learning if they brave to ask and tell their opinion. And the teacher also should remind them that doing a mistake is okay. And also the student must listen well and be a good communicator, take some notes and be active voice. So do I answer the question?
Ladies and gentlemen, after having the first session of question and answers, let's continue to the second Q&A. For this session, I'd like to give it to 2 people. I'd like to remind the questioners not to waste the time. Yes, please.
Thank you. My name is Dahlia from Bogor Educare. I have a question. How to minimize e-learning can cause social isolation? Thank you.
All right, thank you, Delia, for asking. So I will answer your question. The first one is, The teacher can use other media for learning, for example, discussion on school website or Google Classroom with enough time before the deadline. And then the teacher can also advise students to limit cell phone usage. And the last is also the teacher can reduce the use of online conference during teaching and learning activities.
Okay, enough.
Ladies and gentlemen, because of this time, we will not to the third Q&A. Before we close, we like to have a summary from the secretary. The secretary, please.
Thank you very much for the time, Ms. Rismayanti. I'm Yunita Aprilia Cristina. As a secretary, will give you a summary about our talk today. Today, we have a talk with Ms. Sevia Magnaningrum about the disadvantages of having daring learning system. The purpose of the talk is to give an update for the audience about the daring learning system that have been used since March 2019 in our country because of COVID-19 pandemic. Some disadvantages of e-learning or daring learning system are limited online student feedback, social isolation, requires stronger self-motivation and time management skills, lack of communicational skill development in online students, complicated cheating prevention during online assessment. Online instructors tend to focus on theory rather than practice, lack face-to-face communication, limited to certain disciplines, inaccessible to the computer illiterate population, and lack of accreditation and quality assurance in online education. The question has given by Ms. Yanti about how to improve students' communication skills during online learning already answered by Ms. Magna. The tips is the student could be more active during the online learning. They should be brave to ask and tell their opinion. The teacher also should remind them that doing mistakes are okay. Give the right answer politely and appreciate their students' effort to talk during the online learning. Here is also the tips from Ms. Magna to minimize social isolation from learning online, which is the question has given by Ms. Delia. The tips are the teachers can use the other media for learning. For example, discussion on school website or Google Classroom with enough time before the deadline. And the teacher can also advise students to limit cell phone usage, and the teacher can reduce online meeting. We can draw the conclusion of the talk that e-learning can be extremely beneficial if the teachers and students are able to create a comfortable learning environment, as well as have a good and clear learning plan so that students don't easily come bored and continue to be motivated to learn. It becomes the end of the summary of the talk. Thank you very much. I will return the floor to Ms. Rismayanti.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give an applause to Ms. Magna. Thank you very much for your presence in this place and attention during the talk. We can thank more to everyone, friends and friends from other universities who help us to make this talk become successful. Once again, thank you very much. We come to the end of our talk. We will be happy to see in the next. We will be happy to see in the next talk. Goodbye.